One of the most common challenges that team leaders face is distractions. Distraction is everywhere, from the mobile you're holding, to social media, to screens. The most challenging kinds of distractions are not external. The bigger problem in our focus is what I like to call the internal distractions. And those are your own thoughts. And in today's episode, we are exploring the different types of distractions. And I will give you specific tips on how you can manage them so you can be more focused, more productive, and more engaged in what you do. Let's start with the different types of distractions. You know that there are two main different types of distractions. We have the external distractions, and then we have the other type, the internal distractions. Let's start with the external distractions, and I will explain everything in a moment. Those external distractions, they are everything that comes from outside of yourself. Maybe a colleague wants to ask you something. Messages, notifications, emails, even your cat can be a distraction sometimes. Something is happening around you and it pulls your focus away from what you're trying to do, away from the thing you're trying to focus. Your senses are receiving signals, your brain is processing what is around you, and your thoughts start popping in different ways, distracting from the task you were doing. Those are the external distractions. And managing them is actually quite simple. When you want to focus on something, you eliminate everything else. Maybe you choose that you need to close your emails and you open them back after when you finish what you're doing. Maybe you want to put your phone away. You check your phone after you're done. You make sure you have the time, the privacy, and the energy to focus. And then you eliminate everything else. We also discussed this in episode 4 with Sotenko. It was an episode around productivity, and if you haven't listened to that one, go ahead and check it out. It's a solid episode that will add a lot of value in the way you think about time management and productivity. So, yeah, external distractions are easier maybe to manage. Not easy, but manageable. It's like mathematics, you know what to do, and if you do that, you get specific results. Okay, most of the times, because we also have unexpected things happening around. It just requires a bit of, discipline and setting boundaries with yourself and others. If you make sure you have the time and the space to focus, you eliminate everything else and you focus. If you ensure that nothing gets in the way, then you can predict that you will have some focused time without external distractions, isn't it? But the main problem is not usually that. The most challenging kinds of distractions are not external. The bigger problem in our focus is what I like to call the internal distractions. And those are your own thoughts, the notifications from your own brain. While you're trying to focus, your brain starts reminding you every single pending task that you have. They bring it in front of your mind, But why is that happening? Because our brain is designed to protect us. And when we have too many things to do, it wants to make sure that we will not forget. So when you're anxious or stressed, when your to-do list is long, that's when internal distractions kick in the hardest. You might find yourself trying to focus on something, and suddenly, out of the blue, you remember that you need to buy cat food from the supermarket. Those random thoughts, they ruin your capacity to think, they ruin your capacity to focus. Or maybe you have a tight deadline. You have 5 things on your to-do list. You're trying not to forget anything, so your brain keeps popping up reminders while you're trying to work on something else. So if that is the case, how do we reduce internal distractions? How do we silence the voice in our brain when we're trying to focus? Let me give you an example that it might be helpful for you here. Let's say that you need to book a dentist appointment. Until you make that call, it lives in your mind as a pending item. You keep thinking, I need to call my doctor, I need to call my doctor, I need to book that appointment. But the moment you book it, the moment you put it on your calendar, you forget about it. You know you've made the time and the space for that. Unless something extreme happens, you will go to that appointment, isn't it? Because now it's planned. Now they have a place, they have a time, and it will happen when the time comes. Now, what will happen if you do book the appointment, but you don't put it on your calendar? Either you forget about it, or your brain will keep reminding you, don't forget, Friday is your appointment, don't forget about it, don't forget about it. That's an internal distraction. Back in the office, we use a calendar to book meetings with other people. I assume that you also use a calendar to book your meetings with other people. I like to call those types of tasks the on-stage tasks. On-stage tasks involve other people in a meeting, a Zoom call, a session, a presentation, some phone calls maybe. It's like when you go to the theater and actors are performing on stage, you know. What you see is on stage. But behind every on stage, there is backstage work. You cannot have a successful performance without rehearsals, right? Without preparation, without getting ready behind the scenes. And it's the same thing that is happening in the office. We are not used to provide time to our backstage work. We don't schedule it. We don't block time for it. We just add more items to our to-do list. And then we struggle to figure out where they will actually fit. And you know what? Some people, they argue that a to-do list is a good tool to have for your performance. And I get it. A to-do list is good if you have 5 things to do, if you have 3 things to do. But if you are in a role with many responsibilities, a to-do list will bring more limitations for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what the problem is with to-do list. Number 1, they don't tell you how long something will take when you will do it. Number 2, they don't tell you what to prioritize. Number 3 is that many times you end up procrastinating the same tasks again and again and again. You push tasks from one day to the next one, and eventually, number 4 is that this list never ends. So you go every day in the office with the thought that you have a ton of tasks waiting for you. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, if you have 2 or let's say 3 tasks, a list is just fine. But when your role is complex, when you manage people, projects, and other responsibilities, to-do lists, they don't work. Yeah, they will help you remember what needs to be done, but they will also make you anxious because you don't know when you will do what, how long it will take. And that uncertainty feeds your internal distractions. There is a solution to that, something that can minimize those distractions, something that allows you to focus on what matters in the moment. And that is time boxing. What is time boxing anyway? It's when you block specific time for specific tasks, just like booking a meeting with another person for a specific topic. You do the same, but this time you book time with yourself. You pick the day, you pick the time, you pick the task, the outcome. You find an available slot in your calendar and you register that there. And once it's on your calendar, you stop thinking about it. Of course, in the beginning, you might underestimate or maybe overestimate how long things will take. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it becomes easier and easier for you to plan your weeks in a realistic and, of course, a more human way, right? And the result is that you feel less anxious, you feel less overwhelmed, and you feel more accomplished because what you plan to do actually gets done. Of course, if you plan it with a realistic approach. And again, here, let me share a story with you. I was coaching a football player, and during one of our sessions, he said, I need to plan my entire week, not just practice physio and massage, but I also need some time with friends, reading books, listening to podcasts. So I asked him, okay, what would your ideal week look like? And he started listing everything he wanted to include in his routine, in his week. And then I asked, how much time do you want to spend in each one of these things on your list? So we went through the list, and he added 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 60 minutes on the other thing. At the end, we added everything, and we realized that the sum was 267 hours. And we both laughed because a week has only 168 hours. Then I asked, what if you did all these things over 2 weeks instead? 2 weeks, they have 336 hours. And that clicked. He realized that some things can be done bi-weekly and others, they can happen weekly. Managing tasks, time, and energy is all about extending your time frame and making sure that everything has its place. Because if you don't give tasks a place, you feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed, and you end up, like me, telling people, I don't have time. But now I know that very well, because in the past, I was probably like most of the people, I didn't have time for anything. Now when someone asks me something about time, I say, I have time for everything, as long as everything has their own time. So to minimize internal distractions, take that to-do list one by one and start blocking time on your calendar for specific tasks. Remove them from your mind and give them a slot. Don't just write them on a paper, put them on your calendar. Every time something new comes up, open your calendar and decide when it's a good idea to deal with that and for how long you want to deal with that. Then treat your calendar like it's your personal assistant. If something changes, just change your calendar. It's that simple. Now, I know that you're going to think it's easier in theory than in practice. So if this is your first time trying time boxing, go easy on yourself. According to the University College of London study, it takes 66 days on average to automate a new habit. So no, it won't become a second nature in the first week. But give it 2 months, adjust as needed. Change what is working, what is not working, realize what is working, and you will see the return on your investment. You will feel more focused, you will feel less anxious, and more engaged in whatever it is that you do. If you like this episode, share it with someone you care about and respect. And leave me a comment with your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. Oh, and one last thing. I need you to remember that leadership is a journey. Leadership is not a job description. It starts with you, your mindset, and your skills. So go ahead and try new things. And remember that, like everything, leadership is a work in progress.